Recording, I see. Good.
All right, we are recording. Yes, we can
That way,
start.
when I leave, it's still, okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, then it is 10:04. Call the meeting to order. And the first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the September 3rd, 2020 meeting, which Frank has previously distributed. So if anyone has any comments, corrections, additions, yes.
I was not there. I noticed I did not confirm, I did not make any motions, so I knew I was not there, and then I confirmed it.
Okay. Okay, do we have you listed as there?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, I'll fix that.
So do we now not have,
okay.
do we now not have a quorum to approve the minutes?
Well, I think I don't think an abstention hurts the quorum, does it?
Okay.
No, I guess now, do we know, is Mark officially
He is not,
off?
well, he becomes officially off as soon as he registers, I guess, as a Florida resident, which he has not done yet.
Yeah, so that means.
No, he
he's
intended to
officially-
come here as a member of this meeting.
Yeah, which would mean that that means the quorum would still be 5, because we still would have officially 8 members.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, did he officially resign? I guess not. I just spoke to him on the phone and I'll look at his email.
let's see what his email says. This morning, I advised John Schuyler that my wife and I recently purchased a home in Boca Raton, Florida. We will become Florida residents soon. Although we will continue to maintain our home in Rocky Hill, statutes require board members to be Connecticut residents. So I'm saddened to announce that I must resign from the board. And then he just goes on to his past. So
I must resign from the board. Is that a
yeah, but I
resignation
know
or is
he- yeah,
that a statement of a future resignation?
I know. It's ambiguous whether that's a fit. And I guess I would have to see what the official, and again, I should have looked this up, but what the official process is, if any, written out.
Because we're missing Carla, oh, yes. 2, 3, we're missing 3 others.
Wonder if he needs to. Yeah, I have to look this up. I'm sorry. Yeah, whenever he needs to make it official to the governor, get that accepted. To our, to the chair, or to head of DCP. Let's see. And the governor is the one who's naming them, so it probably would have to go there. Yes, yeah, I'm not sure what the official process is.
Well, in the meantime, I think we can go through discussion. We can do provisional votes.
Yes.
Okay, so for a provisional vote, can we have a motion? Oh, looks like we might get Carla. for reasons that are unclear to me. She just sent an email. I cannot find the Zoom link for the meeting. Okay, we can send that to her.
Yep. Mhm.
And then we will have a quorum.
All right, let's see here. I'll send her my link. She'll come in as me and then we can change her name. Unless, yeah,
Yeah, you could do that, Frank. You have the, good, okay. Yep, you have it.
where's the one I just sent to Marcia? Oh, I know whatever it is. Sorry. Here's the link. Okay, hold on. So this is to go into Carla.
Right.
She's a couple of emails. Hope she gets, hope it's going to the one she's on.
I can tell you which one she's on. Let's see. She's on the UConn.edu.
Excellent. That's where I sent it. Okay.
Okay. Okay, in the meantime, so we're waiting for Carla to get on. Perhaps we can continue. At least, I don't know whether it's appropriate to start covering the old business while waiting for her or discussing the Naspa conference.
Well, it's not, I mean, the old business is not much to update, quite frankly. The
Okay.
legislation, last time Bonnie thought that it might be picked up at this, during that quick special session they had coming up the next week. And unfortunately, that was not the case. They did not touch on any of the accountancy stuff, actually any of the DCP stuff at all. And then the regulations, I did check on Friday and they're still going through the process. I think they're at the governor's office, so I'm not positive. It's you know, we're still waiting to get those done. Those are the ones we need for the continuous testing. Among, you know, that's the most important thing, but among, there are other changes, that's the most important.
Carla is on.
Yes, finally. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Carla, we were just about to entertain a motion to approve the minutes with one change to them, which is to remove Marcia's name from the attendees because she was not at that meeting.
Right.
And do you have, if you have any further comments, corrections, additions, deletions?
No, I read the minutes, so they were fine.
Okay. So hearing that, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
I'll second it.
Good.
Pete Niedermeyer.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. All in favor, say aye.
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 Abstentions? That would be
Me, Marcia.
Marcia. Okay. The old unmute delay. Okay, the motion is passed. Let's see. Sorry, I have to go back and forth between things here. Okay, now status of Frank was in the middle of status of legislation and status of revisions of regulations.
And again, there's nothing really new, unfortunately. The legislation, there was talk at our last meeting that it might be picked up at some of the one-day special sessions that were coming up. But as far as I'm aware, I did check for certainly for the September one that they weren't even looking at any of the DCP legislations, which would include the board, the accountancy legislation, so there was no change there. And then the regulations are still in process. I mean, they've gone through DCP and gotten their approval, but it's, again, I'm not positive whether went next. But unfortunately, it's we're still waiting to have them go through the entire process. I do know the next step after this, I believe it goes with then would be the public session. So, hopefully it'll get moving again. And unfortunately, that means that we're still on hold for continuous testing, which is the biggest change, at least for candidates in those regs.
Okay. And at least it can be temporarily dealt with through some benign neglect. Not a good theory, but
Well, I think Naspa was waiting to get the okay from us, and I'm just not comfortable telling them we're.
no, I understand. I wouldn't be either. Okay, speaking of that, moving on to the NASPA annual meeting. Frank and I believe Kat were on, Daniel was on, and I was quasi on shortly after the most substantive day began. A windstorm took out internet in the area. I drove to my daughter's to pick up some of it. But so I missed a lot of that. I did pick up the last part of Dan Dustin's and also the which I thought was quite good, the discussion of ethics and COVID. I will just make a couple of comments. There were a lot of issues that came up that you would not think would necessarily be related, but it was an interesting lecture, and I hope they put it up because it's one of those things where you get a 5 items to which is the ethical problem, and one's obvious, and you just jump for it, and you find out that all 5 are. But missed some of Dan's, which I thought was the most part I saw was most substantive. But the thing that made me feel very good was usually in these NASPA meetings when they show the big maps, Daniel, you might have a different opinion of this. We seem to be the one of the few big scofflaws, and we still have a problem with the continuous testing, but we seem to be much further along on getting confirmed on the regulations and the legislation and in sync with the rest of the country. Now there's been a lot of catch up, so I felt pretty good about that.
No, I have to agree with you, John. I thought from the previous years, it looks like we're finally catching up. So we didn't really stand out as much as we've done in the past. So I was happy to see that as well.
And good. And the following morning, when we had the regional meeting, everybody was telling their woes, particularly New Jersey. The state they have a separate staff, et cetera, and the state just furloughed them all. And basically, they don't even know whether they're catching up on the CPE and the licensure, and it's just a bloody mess. So I think we should feel very comfortable on the way we've been able to go through this, because I mean, Frank has mentioned that they still haven't gone through the big time, renewal of licenses at the end of the year, but so far things seem to be running fairly smoothly, and I think we should, appreciate it. Either the state and the DCP have done a pretty good job for us, and that's all I had to say. We're going to feel deeply the loss of Mark Aronowitz and his exquisite notes. Frank or Daniel, do you have any further thoughts or comments?
I can pretty much echo everything that you mentioned. One of the things I guess you missed when Dan was talking, he highlighted some of the Board of Accountancy issues, and he couple of items that he discussed that you may have missed, just to highlight, was he actually showed a picture of the boards discussing independent boards that operate independently within the state versus those that are operating under another government agency, like the way we are under the CDP, which I think was or DCP, sorry, CDP, DCP, which I found interesting. So he touched on that. Currently within all of the different boards, there are 24 independent boards and there are 32 boards under another organization. I thought that was interesting. He also harped upon the use of the .cpa as a domain going forward, and one of the issues in using that is how do you regulate it if an individual, or more so a firm, loses their license to practice? How do you immediately pull the .cpa away? But then that's going to cause a lot of controversy or issues for that company to continue functioning if they immediately lose their domain. He provided a discussion about peer review updates and mentioned that there's been a suspension of on-site reviews until June 30th, 2021, and there's been issues of 6-month extensions granted for plans with original due dates from January 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2020. And that there's a high number of high volume of extensions. So it's going to be taxing on the reviewers once they start to do that process again. And as you mentioned, he also touched upon the state board, the numbers that are compliant under the UAA, CPE reciprocity amongst other states, and also he often discussed firm mobility, which he mentioned that right now, currently 26 states allow firm mobility, or 28 jurisdictions allows firm mobility. 28 do not at this time, and he gave Massachusetts a special color because Massachusetts is the one currently working towards firm mobility. So those are the pieces I'll just add.
And one thing I don't know whether it's worthy of mention, but there was discussion. Oh, if we could send a link to Martha. Martha Triplett just emailed. Let me
Okay,
see. Did you get it?
I did not, but I can forward a link to her.
Okay. Okay. Regarding the change in the exam and the two-part, it's they really don't know exactly on how they're going to do two things. One is handle the interim for people that are midway through the old exam. There are the 4 parts that we're familiar with, not the 2-tier. Going to the 2-tier, they haven't figured that out, and they really still haven't figured out what's going to be in each segment of that, except that technology is not going to be its own separate segment. It's going to be integrated into the 3, as I understood it. So, although that's sort of on high speed, they've got some very significant issues to do before it comes through.
Mhm. Yeah, I'd also add with that, John, that was interesting, the discussion of the testing piece. And they did spend a good portion of the morning on the first day discussing the evolution of the CPA in regards to the exam and how they're making the changes. In addition, what I thought was interesting was bringing in, they spent some time bringing in some educators in as well to discuss the role of the professors in the schools and what they're doing and what they're working towards to update their programs to align with the new CPA exam. And it was interesting, brought to light on how larger schools are already making the investments and moving ahead to align themselves with the new testing, and that but then you have smaller schools that have not gotten to that point as yet. So once this goes into effect, we do have a couple of years. The question will be, how can NASBA, the AICPA, the state boards help these schools get up to speed once the new testing is done as well.
Yeah.
So that's
And-
something to keep in mind.
And for Carla's ears, the University of Virginia apparently had set up a consortium in Virginia to work with the small schools
Mhm.
to make the offerings as needed.
Yeah, the issue, of the challenge of technology and particularly analytics and the big data sets is, UConn's got it well in hand, I think, and knows the issues. And we have a business analytics program already in UConn. But for some of the smaller schools and even community colleges, which will often provide the foundation for accounting education, it's a much bigger challenge. It's very resource intensive.
Hi, Martha.
Hi. Sorry about that. I just got a new link from Frank, so I didn't have a prior link. I apologize.
Okay. I guess, well, we haven't, other than the minutes, we haven't voted on anything substantive
thank
yet. Okay, I think that's it. There was a lot of discussion, and this is the last thing I'll say regarding that. The sort of technology thing is the offsite, the virtual monitoring. And I can't remember whether you had talked about it, Carl, in a previous meeting, but I do remember at one of the regional meetings, the member on the New York board from the University of New York said, poison, stay away from it. So it doesn't work, but I don't know whether we've got any choice for a while. Okay, next.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just on that last point, because that came up at the executive directors and staff meeting on Wednesday. And I think it was, I forget who the NASBA representative was. It may have been Colleen Conrad, was saying that the current contract with Prometric that they have does not allow for remote testing. And there's no plans right now to amend it right away. That the concern that NASBA has is what is the definition of emergency as to when this would kick in, and wants each state board to have its own independent ability to declare it itself, as opposed to Prometric being able to do so.
Yeah,
So they're working on that. So
yeah,
it's-
everybody seemed to be happy that Prometrics was pretty much opened up across but there was constantly with oh yeah, but at severely reduced numbers of people. So there's still a problem with that, and people getting their exams, as far as I can see. That the testing center is open doesn't help you a whole lot if slots are so limited, it's hard to arrange.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we still have Bob. Okay, shall we move on to proposed changes in University Accountancy Act for education requirements? Was that yours, Frank?
Well, it was the NASBA was looking for, I sent that link on Friday.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, NASBA was looking for, and it came up at the annual meeting too, that they have proposed changes based, on what some of the issues the board just discussed. And I guess they're looking for feedback at this point.
I really don't have any. Where was the, do we have the, the thing on the loan staff in here?
Yes, I sent that as well on Friday.
No, I
That's-
mean, in
it's
the,
on
in the
the-
new
so it's
business
the
list.
During the annual, am I talking? Yeah. During the annual meeting, when they talked about the staff augmentation, I thought, oh boy, we've got to get that. I'd already sent some of the agenda items to Bob. And then I thought, oh, this would be a good one to have on our agenda as well. So I was able to sneak it in, but it's the very last item on our agenda today, even after the extension request.
Oh, got it. I'm sorry. I just didn't see it. Yeah, I don't have any, as far as the, personally, the proposed changes to the Universal Accountants Act for education requirements, I really don't have any strong feelings one way or the other, and I have nothing to contribute to that. Are any of the other board members? If Bonnie wants to chip in there from, since she is our only member of the public with us today.
I don't see Bonnie on the list.
Okay. Well, she won't show up on this one. She's on a different link.
Oh.
She has to, oh, here.
Yeah.
Yeah, go and chat. And she just did. She has nothing to add at this time. They're continuing to review them. Okay. Moving on. CPE evolution. There was a lot of time spent on it at the Naspa meeting, but not a whole lot other than we're working on it for substance.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned the things I pulled out before on how that's going to happen. They really haven't figured it out. But they do say they're making a lot of progress and they're going to meet their meet their deadlines. But there's nothing that I can see that's exceptionally detailed and substantive past what we had in the last meeting.
I think this is Frank. The only thing that I think we need to be aware of is, and hopefully it won't be a big deal because it's legislation, not regs, is we need to just change the statute because it currently refers to 4 specific sections of the exam. And we'll have to change the language to just be more, just to be, not be as specific, be more general. So we'll have to look into that. Hopefully either DCP or the board or the society can get that through this upcoming session. We officially have until January 2024, but rather not wait.
Right.
Okay. For agenda. Okay. Have you dealt with legislative proposals for 2021 in your other discussion, Frank?
Yes, we put some in. I'm trying to remember what they were for this time, but we have submitted. I think we're trying to. But I did confirm that anything did not get through in 2020 would then automatically be going forward to the next, to 2021. So I think basically it's going to be what we had last time.
Okay, I'm going to read Bonnie's comments to all panelists. I have nothing to add at this time. We will continue to review them, but she added to that AICPA NASPA are starting to provide educators with more information, which I believe both you and Daniel mentioned regarding CPA evolution, but schools do not have much yet and they're chomping at the bit to get some details. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. It's going to be difficult for the schools, particularly coming off of all of this. Okay. Extension waiver requests.
we actually, we had the 5 that are on the agenda, and then we received, after the agenda went out, 3 more. To
Okay,
require.
Which we
a
needed.
vote by the board. It's for, they're all, everyone that we received was for an examination extension. None for CPEs, which, because the extension goes to the end of the calendar year, and I think hopefully that's good enough.
right.
But the additional ones we received were from Josh Budwitz, Taylor Burns, and Corona Richards.
Okay, we'll need a motion to add those into the agenda.
So this is Pete. I'll make the motion to add it to the agenda.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
okay. Have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried.
Who seconded the motion, Mr. Chairman? I'm
Marcia.
sorry. Marcia,
Marcia
okay.
did.
Thank you.
Okay. Frank, you're on. Let's roll.
All right, I'm trying, yeah, okay, I tried to doing this remotely is a little different than in the past. So this is a request from Cynthia R. Calderon. And she is looking to extend her regulation, which did expire on December 19th, 2019. Looking to extend it through December 31st, 2021. Actually, no, I take it back. It didn't expire then. That's when she took it. So it would have expired June of 2020. It will be expiring June of 2021. She's looking to extend it till December 31, 2021, and it's for medical and good cause. She, and actually, I need to bear with me here. And then she sent me a link to her extension, so I need to log in again. But because it actually was kind of clever, because instead of just emailing any medical stuff, to us, which we try to discourage, we try to make those as amorphous as possible. It's actually a link that's more secure. I'm just waiting for it to get called up here. I will say, without getting the specifics of what her medical issue is, she has been approved by, I think it's Naspa, to get accommodations to take the exam already. Why is this not coming up? No.
If you remember that, is that some sort of a condition that would make this person a particular COVID risk?
No, I do not believe
Okay.
so. I think she's also looking for, has so many of these, and I'm trying to balance them out, and multiple emails in each case. Plus, here we go. Technology is a wonderful thing until it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, here's her letter. I hope you and your family are well. This is to the state board during these unprecedented times. My name is Cynthia Calderon. I am a tax senior accountant at a national public accounting firm. I've been sitting for the CPA exam for the past 5 years. I'm writing you because I would like to request an extension for credit for my reg exam. This year has presented many obstacles and challenges, both on a personal and professional level. I am at an increased risk. Well, she says she is an increased risk for severe illness from COVID because of, a lung issue. Okay. The state of Connecticut opened the testing center at full capacity in June. I was recently approved for a testing accommodation that allows me to take my next exam in a separate room. Last year I passed the reg, and I'm now planning on retaking the audit exam in December. I'm reaching out to you to request help. Pandemic and my personal health have limited the amount of time I can sit for the exam in 2020. If you grant me an additional 6 months in 2021, it will go a long way for me and bring me closer to achieving my goal of passing the CPA exam. I appreciate your consideration in this matter. Thank you for your time. And she includes what she sent to get the approval for the special accommodation to take the exam. And that's all. It has been approved, and there's also the backup for that in here.
Yeah, so our testing centers are open up full capacity. There are an awful lot of people whining at the regional meeting that theirs are not
Right.
even close. So any thoughts? So,
Do we need a motion for the extension?
Yes.
yes.
Well, I'm willing to make it after, any discussion.
Okay, do we have a second in which we'll open discussion?
This is Pete. I'll second the motion. Oh,
Okay, motion on the table, discussions pro and con the motion. Any
He's
thoughts, anyone?
only asking for 6 months, right? Is that correct, Frank?
Yes, for 6
Correct.
months.
I'd be inclined to be easy on it, although it seems to be early to be asking for it in a sense, but if she is in fact, due to a condition that's at higher risk of going into a test center, I'd be inclined to do it.
I'm in favor of it. I don't think it's excessive.
Yeah. I mean, we're up to 3.7% infections as it is. And we're doing better than most.
Yeah.
Well, hearing no further discussion, I'll entertain a vote. Anyone opposed? In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstentions? Okay, I guess the motion carries.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. All right. That was Calderon. Okay, so next one is Alexander Frawley. Find that one. Got it. Good news. All right, here we go. Alexander Frawley. The email he sent, it says, well, let's look at his letter. Okay, dear members of the State Board of Accounting, my name is Alexander Frawley. I am a CPA exam candidate in Connecticut. I am writing to you because I passed the FAR exam and my credit is set to expire March 31st, 2021. With only a few short months left and NASPA not yet making any determination about extending 2021 expiring scores, which is true. I wanted to state my case to the board as soon as possible in order to create an effective plan to complete the remaining exam sections. I've been watching closely for updates on this topic and noticed that recently 2 candidates wrote the board regarding the extension for their exam expiration dates. While listening to requests from fellow candidates, Evan DePersia and Colleen Sheridan, which was at the board's last meeting on September 3rd, I found myself relating to the plight of prometric availability issues due to COVID-19 restrictions. Both candidates raised strong points regarding the difficulty of scheduling exams, as during the summer, candidates rushed back after the lockdown to take their exams, resulting in a large influx of test takers, while the availability of testing seats remained limited due to the state's safety guidelines. This issue seems to have subsided for now, but its effects are wide-reaching as candidates were mostly unable to take exams during this time. As such, NASPA recommended that some candidates receive an extension for their scores up to 8 months, while others, such as myself, did not receive any extension, even though we were also affected by the lockdown. Furthermore, I am concerned about the recent increase in COVID-19 cases, fearing that Connecticut could impose additional restrictions or even lock down the state again, which would further limit the test-taking opportunities for candidates. I am trying to be proactive under the circumstances by asking for an extension now rather than reaching out to the board with just weeks or days left before my exam expires. Being granted an extension would allow me to recoup the months I lost on my exam score, as well as provide me with some flexibility to navigate the pandemic. So the specifics of his request are, this is Frawley. Well, okay. He's looking to extend as far to November 30th, 2021. He took it on September 5th, 2019, which means it would expire, let's see, in March of 2021. He's looking for that for the 8 months.
Did he say he passed the bar exam?
FAR,
Or FARs.
FAR, sorry.
Yeah. I should take a course in writing and getting to the point.
It seems as though we're gonna have a lot of these, and maybe we should come up with a strategy, a consistent strategy for any of them.
I
I will
agree.
say most of these other ones coming are similar, yes.
You know what, excuse me, John, Frank and the board, I have to bow out.
Gotcha.
So Frank, you'll continue. Thank you very much. I apologize, but I have to go to another department meeting, so.
Yep.
It's okay.
All right.
Good day.
Yep,
But
bye.
thank you.
And don't shut off the meeting.
No, I'm gonna hit the leave button. You should, yeah. We tried this, so it should work. Thank you.
It worked.
Well, that's a good sign.
Yeah, I agree with Marcia. Maybe we ought to take a minute just to talk about what our philosophy is about extensions, particularly having in view of the COVID situation.
Any thoughts?
Well, I'll start out since I said that. I mean, if you look at the prognostications, even being really optimistic about, Pfizer made an announcement yesterday about a vaccine coming online. There may be some better testing coming along. I don't think there's any way we're going to get back to normal until maybe June. And the people such as the ones we've just heard from, and apparently, you know, some more that are coming up at this meeting, we need to think about what we want to do. I mean, this is truly a situation that's beyond the individual's control. Really, the only way to control it right now is to wear a mask and socially distance. And so if we're not going to do long distance test taking, you've got to go to the testing center. By definition, at some level that exposes people. Now, some people, because of their medical circumstances, may be more amenable to picking up the virus than others, but I don't feel like being a physician and figuring out whether people are in a especially susceptible group or not. I would tend to be a little bit more on the lenient side with extensions under these present circumstances.
Okay, I'm gonna pass along what Bonnie just put in the chat. Many individuals are fearful of the existing testing environment as well. People are sitting close to each other. It is allergy and flu season and people are coughing and sneezing. This is stressing people out and the test is stressful to begin with. It is far from a good situation.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of being liberal on extensions for that. I do think it should probably be, you know, somewhat uniform if possible. I know that some people, even if we set a certain number of months, there will be some people who might need more based on other circumstances, but I think there probably should be sort of a standard length of extension that we're giving. The last one was 8 months, right? Am I correct?
Mhm.
So, you know, maybe just throwing it out for discussion, 9 months or 12 months?
I would think if we would do 9 months, that would be fair, and then just play it by ear and what happens.
I'm in agreement. I like 9 months. I think our overall issue and hesitation may be going forward, people that may use when things change or get back to being get back to better or close to being normal, people using it as an excuse just because they laxed. And I think when we get to that point, I think that's when we should worry about it. Until now, I think a 9-month extension is sufficient.
What if we did 9 months and then 2 months from now we did 7 months and just made it shorter and shorter as we're getting hopefully towards the end?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to continue 9 months ad
So-
infinitum.
So if we do that, do we put something in the minutes or the notes that the board is stating that at this point, people would get from this date a 9-month extension, but then each month it gets shorter? Because it sounds like a lot of the arguments that we've been getting from individuals, they put the 8 months out for individuals that were proactive in the beginning and asked for the extension, and they're comparing those individuals' extensions to to their situation and stating that they're under 8 months. So I would believe that we have to come out with some type of wording that maybe this is the hard date and that's it, and then everything else would just be on an individual case-by-case basis under circumstances.
I think things are still in so much flux that I wouldn't like to see a decreasing number of months put in place at this point. I think what might be more prudent would be to say in the minutes that the extension of 9 months would be revisited either at the January meeting or the March meeting of the board.
So then at that point, we can just universally say, or we can, depending on circumstances, we can immediately say 7 months then, and so forth, each period.
Yes.
Is what
Yeah.
you're saying. Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Yeah, it's,
Or we just say till September 30th.
I guess I was going to ask, 9 months from when?
yeah.
Person,
Good question.
Is it,
Well, what was the 8-month one that we just did? 8 months extension from when it was set to expire, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess it would be 9
So-
months from when it is set to expire.
Well, I'm going to suggest that we don't make it any longer than the one we just gave for the special case.
8 months is kind of an odd time period. Normally, one would think 9 or 12.
Right.
Mhm.
True.
That's what they asked for. That's what the petitioner asked for, right?
Right. That's why I said 9 in my
Yeah.
example, because I just think nobody gives like a 8-month extension, or I mean, at least in my business, in law, you normally don't see
Yeah.
things like unusual timeframes, 6 months or 9 months or 12.
Well,
But
I do like the idea, Frank, because if we have a 9 months from whatever, we're talking about this potentially extending out well after it's, this is straightened out. So I like the idea of the reduction over time.
But then what if we get someone that doesn't expire till September of next year that just jumps on? Maybe we should do it kind of like we did in the spring. But maybe we did it the year before when the exam was changing. If your dates are here to here, we move it to here. If you expire from here to here.
Right. Exactly. especially looking to the future, find out if that the time to accomplish this will expand to fully use the time that we allow.
Yes.
So everybody thinks we're going to start getting a flood of these additional ones.
Yes.
Frank, do you have the minutes from when the exam changed and how we did those extensions, how that wording was?
That was, well, yeah, that, because what it was to reflect what the guidance was from Nasba, which was basically a date certain, right? It was anything from April 1st to whatever the time period was extended to, I think, the end of the calendar year. First, it was September, then they changed it to the end of this calendar year. I guess it was June 30, December 30th, not the 31st, the 30th was their date. They were pushing it back to then, but it was a date certain.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to be, if whatever we did, it wasn't totally off the wall in comparison what is being done nationally. I kind of like the extended out X number of months and then revisit it and bring it back in as this resolves itself, but rather than the date cert, because didn't the date certs kind of, you know, it didn't work right because of when people's, if people's dates ended up outside of that, they still had the same delay, and they were, which is why we're dealing with some of these, or we're dealing with some of these.
But what if we said for now that if yours is expiring on or before June 30th, that we move it to December 31st, and then we address more later?
Any thoughts?
I think that's, you know, for at the least amount of extension, that would be a 6-month, I guess, right?
I guess so. Right now, I'm so confused between the options. I'm not
Can I-
sure I'm thinking the same thing.
May I just interject something real quick? Just for what it's worth, I just called up the page on the NASBA has for each state and what they're allowing currently. And this was the link I just got on Friday. So it's
Right.
the most recent. No, I guess the link would have been updated anyway. So this is what they have. And basically Arkansas has extended exams until, so with expiration dates from April 1st to December 30th, 2020 will now be extended to June 30th, 2021. Looks like most of the next bunch of states alphabetically are just still at December 31st, 2020, which would include Connecticut.
Yeah, I don't think that's good enough, but
And then, okay, then Indiana is case by case, but everybody else is, at least, you know, until they have not, if they've changed, they have not reported any change to the different, to NASBA. So they're all, everybody's at December 31st, 2020 right now.
Well, they're gonna have to do something about that because it's November 2020 right now.
Yeah.
Does that mean that they're probably doing these on a case-by-case basis and they don't have a set policy?
Well, they're all, it's basically following the NASBA guidance. So it says expiration dates from April 1st, 2020 to December 30th, 2020 will be extended until December 31st, 2020. So it just catches the ones that are expiring during that period. Will just be extended, you know, everything from 8 months to 1 day, which, you know, is in effect no change. And then some states are still saying case by case. South Dakota is case by case. Vermont, I see, is case by case. Wyoming, they just had a 90-day extension for any expiring April 1st, to June 30th, we've got 90 days. And then, well, then anything expiring July 1st to August 31st, 2020 also got 90 days.
Hmm.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay, now Indiana, Idaho. Let's see, what they have done is they will grant extensions for exams passed that are expiring due to COVID, including a COVID-related matter, including but not limited to illness, closure of a testing site, or the unavailability of seats in an open site in 90 increments. I guess that means 90-day increments. This proclamation is effective the governor's recent orders. So that was starting on April 28th. So I guess it's not clear. I guess you would have to ask, but it looks like they're just having a blanket. If you're asked, you get 90 extra days. So that's the other states, for whatever it's worth.
90 extra days doesn't sound like enough.
No, it doesn't, but
I agree.
Well, it depends where they are. Um,
I would make a motion that we, if they're expiring before June 30th, that they're automatically extended to December 31st. And as we get closer to that, we will either revisit it or take it on a case-by-case basis.
Second,
Okay, have a motion on the table. Any discussion?
Is there a start date on that, Marcia, then?
I would say anytime.
So if
now.
somebody had an exam in April or, I mean, I guess, are we rolling everything from April forward? So,
Yes.
so anything from April 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021, we'll give them to.
December. What was that? Was that a question, Pete?
Yeah, I guess if anybody that had exams expiring from April 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021, we will automatically extend them to December 31st, 21. Is that what we're saying? I guess I'm just trying to clarify.
Thank you. I think that sounds fair.
Okay.
Certainly, they have plenty of time to study right now.
What does that do for the person that expires in July? If we word it that way.
Well, then July of 2021. But then we
Right.
look at them, either if
Got
COVID
it.
is still a problem, we look at
The
extending.
key
that.
is, yeah. The key is we'll revisit it for further dates at a later meeting.
Yeah, either in total or on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. Is that the original? That's the original motion, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Would you be able to put in there when you were going to revisit it? Because if I'm a person who is expiring in July, I might be a little worried that what is, when am I going to know what my date is? So I would like to see that it will be revisited at the, board meeting
January.
of January or March or some period, so they know that they're going to have an answer in advance.
Let's revisit it at the March 9th meeting.
yeah.
Okay. How's that, everybody? March 9th meeting?
I will
Okay.
amend the
Things
motion.
would have developed sufficiently. And at that point, we can look at all the other dates for any follow-on effects.
Okay.
Okay. Are you there, Frank?
Uh-oh.
Ma'am.
Oh, good. Your picture disappeared you moved in the screen. I'm going to just allow if or would it be appropriate, I should say, I'm not going to, but would it be appropriate to allow our comments from the public at this point before we vote on that to see whether there's any thoughts? I think other than Kat's on and attendees, and we have 3 attendees, Mr. Frawley, Ms. Barenko, and Bonnie. We have 2 slots to allow comments for the public, and I thought this might be an appropriate time to take one if everybody agrees.
Bonnie just added a comment.
Okay. Okay.
Hi,
Hi, Bonnie.
I think, hope everyone's doing well. I think that is a reasonable move. We have been hearing quite a bit from people. When we became one of the states that was a pilot or was piloted for allowing full capacity at testing centers, I started getting a lot of calls from people who were concerned about their health. So they were going in there, as you heard before, and not being able to concentrate on the exam because of the things that were happening around them or that they were worried may be happening around them. So I fully support this, this extension, especially because the rates are rising again. Those fears are starting to come back again. So I believe that the scenario you put forth in terms of the time period makes it clear who you're extending, and saying you're going to do it till the 31st is good. And then indicating as well that you're going to revisit it on March 9th, I think is a great move. I think it's reasonable and makes complete sense. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bonnie. Okay, yeah, I don't see any harm to protection of the public to giving more flexibility on this. So any further discussion on the motion? And perhaps, Frank, you can save writing the letter to Mr. Frawley since he's listening.
Right, and this may cover a lot of the other requests today too.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Have you vote? I'm sorry,
can we-
you just voted?
Nope, put it to a vote now. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion's passed, and let's hope it's going to be less of an issue in March. So we just have to sweep up those people that get adversely affected by, you know, the last months of this, and just anomalies as to their own personal timing.
And I'm sorry, but since I'm taking over a little bit for Bob here, who made the motion and who seconded all that?
I made the motion and Carla seconded it,
Thank you.
and Pete and Martha made it better.
Yes.
All right, so that'll take care of Mr. Frawley. So let me, this is, and the next one is, actually, wait, let me just go here. I had a system. All right, so Matthew Ostedla. Wait, there it is. Okay. He is, okay. Yeah, let me just see what his extension request is. The board may have just covered his request. So he was looking for well, I guess 3 extensions. All right. So the FAR would expire. He took it on July 18th, 2019. So 2020, and then it would expire in January of 2021. So he's covered by that, but by far. And then his audit he took in June of 2019, so that would expire in December of this year. So he's okay with that. And then his BC, he took it in August of 2019. So that would be February of 2021. So that one's okay. Okay, so he's okay. This will make this easier. You just have to listen to me as I figure this all out. Then Chris Toomer. Okay. It was, so he originally took his BC in September of 2018, which means I'll see that one. So that's what, March of 2020 that would expire. So that would have been a little before the April 19th, the April 1st date. I think that's his point, is that I mean, he may be the one. There's one that I think it expired on by one day. Yeah, okay, here it is. I'm writing to you in regards to the status of my BEC score, which expired March 31st, 2020. I received an email notification on March 22nd, 2020. The NASPA would be extending exam credits that had an expiration date on April 1st, 2020, now through December 31st, 2020, due to COVID-19 pandemic. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this year has caused tremendous strife for me personally and in preparation for these exams. I'm hoping you will provide an extension for my score to be extended, as I am missing the allowance by one day. Score expired March 31st, 2020, and the extension is from April 1st, 2020. I am a re-examination candidate and have worked extremely hard to pass these exams and continue to take these exams. To lose my score for one day is very discouraging.
Understandable. So does he get picked up then?
No,
No.
I'll make a motion to allow it.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
That was
opposed?
no.
Nope, no opposition.
Okay, and then Christopher Tweeddale. Let's get. Let's see. Got it, here we go. All right, so looking for his reg to be extended. And he wrote original date of exam 2/28/21, but and he's looking for an extension just to August of 2021. So he must mean it's expiring then. So that would, if assuming it's expires at that date, then he's covered by the new policy. So he should be okay.
Okay.
And the three new ones, Josh Budwitz. Okay. Took it in September of 2019, which means expires in March of 2021. So he's covered. Okay. Taylor Burns. Okay, BC, he took it in August of 2019, which means it will expire in February of 2021, so he's okay. And the last one is Corona Richards.
You should just get it for the themed name.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, great, upside down. All right, so she took the regulation exam in October of 2018. So that would, well, yeah. So that one's, this is strange. Okay, so because she said she took it then, which means it would have expired in October. Well, no, it would have been okay. It would have expired in April 2020, but looking for the expected completion date, March 31st, 2020. No, it was looking for 90 extension to March 31st, 2021. Just messed up that date. Okay. So I think, okay, if that's the case and it's just expiring, she should be covered by it as well then. Okay. She should be okay as well. All right, and that was it.
Done?
Yes.
Could I just make a suggestion that we use various formal and maybe informal mechanisms like working with Bonnie and her group to get the word out about the policy we just adopted to, you know, put people's mind at rest and also cut down on the number of extension requests we might otherwise get.
Yeah, we will put it on our website. I will notify Nasba. So we'll get the word out to them as well.
Okay, good.
Okay. So that gets us past the extension waiver and examination requests. Staff augmentation. The Naspa has written or drafted a response to the proposed rules on staff augmentation and would like anybody that or any board that wishes to comment on those to do so. Frank sent out the link. I'm a little leery about it, but I'm really not going to express any opinions other than I think that the use of the term, was it emergency situation, is an abomination. Should drop situation. But other than that, I had no comments. Anybody have any comments on that they'd like to forward to the to Nasba?
Can you, maybe Frank can explain to us exactly what the ramifications might be for us and our state under the proposal?
Well, I think what the proposal basically is what, to allow some, allow firms to have some members of the staff that assist in some areas for, of clients, I guess, who then they would potentially audit. So there's the questions of,
Right. If you've got an attest client, can you lend staff to help solve problems or catch things up? And I mean, my only thought on that was I can understand why in an emergency, it'd almost be like, doing the audit work and making proposals, that this is a very gray area. I just wasn't really happy and sure that this really made things any better than didn't confuse it. But, I haven't been actively doing this for 5 years, so I'm a little loath to commenting on it. And I might be a little absolutist on independence too. I guess the other question I should ask is, everybody had time to really review it?
I took a look at it, and I'm a tax guy, but my 2 cents is that I'm not a fan of it. That's just my 2 cents.
I'm not a fan of it either.
Yeah, and Bonnie just noted that the SEC just modified independence rules, which I have not been up on, but I can't imagine that they were modified quite as much. But I think maybe it might make sense to look at the new SEC modifications against it, but SEC was always much more strict.
And it doesn't seem to affect yellow book clients.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking about that. Government has always carved itself out a little exemption on that when it comes to preparation of financial statements.
Do we have a deadline to respond? Because I was thinking maybe we should table it.
they're looking for something by December 8th.
Yeah. I'm going to suggest that if anybody has not had, and I think I'm with I'm with Daniel, but I can't be any more specific than said I'm a little. I'm not that. I think it's a little bit worrisome to open it up, but I would suggest that we all take a hard look at it and email into Frank, and we can have some sort of round robin on it, and maybe some sort of quickie session. I know there's difficulties with that because have to make sure we have enough public notice of it. But.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. I think we had a special session in March, so we did it then. We can do another one for this, sure.
Right. So if we 2 weeks gets us to what? Of course, we got Thanksgiving in there too.
2 weeks is a Thanksgiving week. You have the following week is a week of you would have the following week, and then a couple of days after that it would be the 8th. So you would still. I mean, basically, you have 30 days from today is when they want the response.
So we'd have, we'd need comments in, if any, before Thanksgiving. And remember, this is just advising NASPA on its opinion, and NASPA's come up with its opinion. So we, and then we can schedule something that first week. But if we get it in before, it might just be that we don't have anything to add.
Right, if you all set, if everybody sends me something independently, I'll, and Kat and I will synthesize something together based on all the input. And then, get that out ahead of time before we give everybody a chance to look at it.
I noticed Kat's on mute and she hasn't taken herself off it and said, "What have you promised I'm going to do, Frank?"
She knows how this works.
Okay. Comments or concerns of any person present today? So if anybody that is present today wishes to make a comment or concern, please do the chat. Well, we've just got Bonnie and Alyssa on right now. And oh, nothing new.
Hey, Frank, if it matters on the meeting dates scheduled in the agenda, the first couple of dates have 2020, not 21. So
Right.
Yeah.
Calling H.G. Wells.
All right, now I'll keep it, okay. Get that fixed.
Okay. If there's any new business anybody would like to bring up?
I would like, if in the future, the correct link to the meeting could be sent out that morning.
Yeah, we had a conversation about that because I made the same comment earlier. There is apparently for the active members, a link gets sent out when the meeting is set up.
Hmm.
And apparently it's and those are individual links so that it's difficult to do. So we'll have to see what Bob can do, or any thoughts, or maybe we'll just note the date and set up the meeting like right before. Because yeah, I have a problem with it because I end up trying to keep track of like 25 links of various things that are coming up, and sometimes I find it difficult to find them if I don't have them copied properly.
Right.
And I can't with that one. I can't copy it. So, okay, we'll see what we can do.
We will.
Okay, hearing nothing else, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it. This is Pete.
Okay, motion second, no discussion allowed. So all in favor?
Aye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.